Whoa. Hey, man.
Oh, hey, man.
Bills are straight up honey buns. Probably the most real quote of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of the Buffalo Bills or the Hashtag Sports podcast. We're just talking about the post game between whatever that was on Sunday between the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. Be sure to follow all of our socials: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Show tonight is sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes. Brochure in the description of this video. Make sure he's got a YouTube as well. Make sure you follow him over there. Ryan,
Mario.
I have a lot of words.
You have a lot of words.
And then I become speechless at times watching that game and what is going on and this and that and the third. Initial thoughts as we wait for Paul to get in the queue and all this other stuff.
Initial thoughts. I have since 13 seconds.
Yes.
I have listened to defenders of Sean McDermott tell me that he is a leader of men, that this team is not in the playoffs without him, that what are they going to do if they get rid of Sean McDermott, that he's an effort guy that just gets this team ready to go and is rah-rah. We see him clapping on the sidelines. We see him, slapping hands and backs and everything. And then as I wade into the waters like Jon Snow against the oncoming army to say that Sean McDermott should not be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills and that this football team is not going to win a Super Bowl as long as Sean McDermott is the head coach. And I listened to every piece of feedback on the internet. And then I watched the Buffalo Bills with the opportunity to stay in the hunt for the division, the opportunity to stay in the hunt for the 1 seed, with everything in front of them, having just come off of beating the hottest team in the NFL, which is the Kansas City Chiefs, get the doors blown off and embarrassed against a 2-7 Miami Dolphin football team. And then listen as the quarterback, the MVP, the best quarterback that this franchise has ever seen, and quite possibly a top 5 quarterback, physically talented quarterback of all time we've ever seen play the football game, tell us that the other team on the sideline with nothing to play for, that just did fire sale mode, that just traded their best defensive player, that was shopping their best offensive weapon, they wanted it more than the Buffalo Bills. So I ask you, Mario, and those in the chat, and those out there who have told me that I've overreacted to McDermott, and what are we going to do if we get rid of Sean McDermott? I ask, again, because I ask it all the time, how much more are we going to have to watch of this football team underperform, underprepare, lower itself to the bad opposition that they're facing week in and week out, and how many more seasons are we going to waste of Josh Allen's career on a guy who can't get his team up and ready to play a 2-7 Miami Dolphins team with a brand new GM? They just fired their GM. It's a lame duck off head coaching situation. It's a quarterback that they're facing that's got noodles in his head instead of a brain because of how many shots he's taken, and you get your doors blown off. And then your quarterback says they wanted it more. In what world should the Miami Dolphins, the 2-7 Miami Dolphins, want anything more than the Buffalo Bills? How many more times are we going to watch this man do this to this football team before somebody just says, you know what, enough's enough, and gets rid of him? I don't understand what we're watching with this football team. They make no moves at the deadline. They tell us they've got a championship roster, and then they come out and they take a dump in the middle of Hard Rock Stadium against a 2-7 football team. Like, what are we doing here? Those are my thoughts right now. Like, I don't even care about the game. Like, who cares at this point? Like, the only thing that matters is that they weren't ready to play, and they admit that they weren't ready to play. Like, what else matters at this point? Oh, hey, Paul.
Hey, boys.
Like,
what's going on, guys?
Hey, I don't know. He let me start. So
no, no, because this sets the table for the whole night. This definitely sets the table. And Ryan, you are not alone in your thoughts. We jokingly said that he's Jeff Fisher. And we, Drew from the Rock Pile Report has many times called him Marvin Lewis. It's how many times are we going to do this? It is your responsibility as a head coach. I'm just taking the microcosm of this game. It is your responsibility as a head coach to get your team ready to play. Were the guys out partying the night before? Like what down in Miami, just celebrating and doing all this? Oh, we're going to beat them, whatever. They have the talent. They have a lot of pieces that are missing. They have pieces that are injured, but every team is. I want to hear Paul's thoughts before I absolutely just open up a can of on what we witnessed yesterday. Because Paul has said very few words to me that I can't repeat on the air. I hate this team. Right now.
I say it. I've said it to literally everybody that I've communicated with is I hate this team. And I say consistently, we live in the worst timeline. Like this is the worst of the timelines. And I mean that like wholeheartedly. This is the worst of the timelines. I don't know, guys. Trap game, right? Am I right?
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. I think Andrew R hits it nail on the head here. Playing is both super predictable and boring. And there's I think there's opportunities here to make your team better. I don't know if this front office has the cojones to admit that they're wrong about something in order to take the step forward to make changes. With that being said, when the Bills aren't first place in the division, right? This is a team that we're saying, listen, it's 1 seed or bust. Like that, those days are over at this point. Like you got to run the table and still get some help, right? Like that's just the reality of the situation. You lost 2 divisional games. Like you can't keep giving up the games that you need to that you're supposed to win. Like this was a game that you were supposed to win. This team had 2 wins. Right, you can't put your foot on the so you're getting look at who's beat you this year, right? You lost to the team that's first in your division, and 2 teams that at the time had, not even wasn't even batting 500, right? Like, at what juncture do you hold people accountable in this whole piece of we're gonna keep going at it, and you can keep going at it, but when I see you in a game that you're losing on 4th and 1, try and throw a hee-haw ball down to Jackson Hawes, like I've got a problem with that. And the reality is, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to talk about, of course, Brian Dable's been released, right? This isn't the same team that he left. But you have to look at those front office people that we've talked about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We got flamed in the comment section about how we were just being negative and the things that we were saying just not possibly true. This team is better. The truth of the matter is you have to look at your front office staff and say, we're not doing a good enough job, and look around and say, who was here while we were failing and who's still here from the dates that we were failing, and why haven't we learned from our mistakes? Like you just have to do something at some point. You have to respond. Like Mario, isn't that where we are? Like you have to respond. And that doesn't mean make Josh Allen do more. Like you saw the weight of the world on that man's shoulders when he fumbled that football. Like he felt like he burned the city of Buffalo to the ground. Like he independently felt guilty for losing that game. And that game
absolutely
had nothing to do with him, in my opinion.
Corny, but true in this sense. Unless you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will never change. And that just seems to be a hallmark of this squad right now. They don't think anything is wrong. Or like you said, Paul, they're too stubborn to admit when they are wrong. And it's disappointing and frustrating because like if I look at it from, you guys know, I always look at it from the game within a game, the football aspect of it. What is going on the field? And I don't think necessarily they have to do more of what they're doing. I think they have to, in fact, do less, but they have to do it sharper. You're missing tackles out there. You're getting blown off the ball. That isn't a scheme thing. you know, and you look at it. I'm talking about the defense specifically. Then you go over to the offensive side of the ball, and you have a playbook that looks like Tecmo Super Bowl, and everyone knows what it is. A big thing was talking about today with on WGR. I was listening to it. Apparently Allen had 3.53 seconds to throw the ball, and that's necessarily not a good thing that you want to be holding on to the ball that long. But the fact that he was able to hold on to the ball that long is a testament to this line. But
the most time he's had to throw in like a season and a half, I think,
since 2018, I think it was. That's the most time he's had.
I know definitely, but over the last 2 seasons, it's the most time he's had to throw. And again, like you said, that's not necessarily a good thing.
No. But the fact is, you can't get open. Oh yeah, right? The fact that you can't get open in 3.5 seconds either speaks to the talent on the field or the scheme. Now, let's examine both of those things. It's either the talent you have on the field or the scheme what's going on. If your talent on the field cannot get open, it is now the responsibility of the offensive coordinator to get them open, not just have them run 4 different routes and try to beat their man one-on-one, because that's what the formula is now. Load the box, play one-on-one, jam at the line. Game over. That's how the 2-17 beats you.
Well, I mean, Mark, like the reality is if it's not Shakir, it's not open.
No.
Right? Like, isn't that the way that it's been? You know, like you can't continue to give Tyrell Shaver snaps and no targets, right? You can't continue that life. You lose Dalton Kincaid. You lose, like, not that this matters, right? But, you know, you have a defensive end that goes down early and, you know, that hasn't played for you all season. You know, like and then you sign Mecole Hardman to the practice squad. Like, this is a magical Band-Aid, right? Like, I get what they're doing and I understand they're trying, but like the position that you're in is the position that you're in. And either you need to figure out how to get these guys open, or you need to change the people around you to help you figure out how to get these guys open. These are NFL players. They're incredible athletes. If you can't figure it out, it's not on the players to figure it out for you. And I think players like Diggs and Allen have covered that up for you over the last X number of seasons. And now that you don't have that anymore, you look at it and say, yeah, the system itself is broken. There's no system here. Like, James Cook was dealing with the foot all week, and that was obvious during the game. Like, it was obvious to me that he just didn't look sharp. Not to say he didn't look good, but like he just didn't look sharp. You couldn't depend on Ray Davis. You're not going to play Ty Johnson. So what are we doing here? Like, if these aren't players that you can lean on when your star running back misses a bunch of practice this week because of a foot, then you can't turn to Ray Davis and say, listen, dude, we need 3 yards today. Like, get us 3 yards of carry. Like, behind this line, come on. Like, you just have to be better. But you cannot continue to give snaps to people that don't contribute to your offense. And that's what this team continues to do. They continue to give snaps to players that do not contribute on offense. You can't do it. You got to stop it.
At what point? Like,
Ryan, before you go, sorry, just wanted to acknowledge Jack Glimpse, $1.99 donation. Thank you, sir. Man, we're in cap hell next year too. Yes, we'll get into that.
Yeah, and I mean, like there's so many things wrong with this football team, right? Like, there's so many things wrong with this football team that I don't know if it like snuck up on everybody because they were winning and they were like winning despite certain things. But like this team is in trouble. Like, this team is to the point where if that's the effort that you're going to come out with, you might as well have been sellers at the deadline. Instead of worrying about what you were going to buy to make this team better, you should have been looking at your assets and going, what can we get rid of so that we can potentially maximize Josh Allen for the next 4 years that we've got, instead of just trying to tread water and hoping that this freaking guy's going to take us to the promised land. Like, you've got a ineffective offensive coordinator who can't run simple concepts. Mario, when's the last time we saw this team run a mesh route? When's the last time we saw them run a levels concept route? like fundamental. If you can't get open, go run a mesh route. Go run into each other and hope that your DBs like trip on each other and somebody's open, right? Like, run it like my kingdom for a drag route at this point. Like, I have no idea what they're even doing. Like, this isn't a mystery, right? We've talked about it on this show time after time after time. if James Cook doesn't rush for 80 yards, this team does not win football games. So what do? You give him 13 carries on the game. Like, this is not a good Miami team. You know Tua is going to turn the football over. You know that they're going to get constipated on offense at certain points in time. Why do you abandon the run so quickly when you're only down 2 scores in the third quarter? Like, this is not difficult. But the problem that this creates is it's the distraction point, right? Everyone's getting distracted. Why isn't Brady calling this? Why isn't he calling that? Why is Josh? Can we talk about the guy who hired him? Can we talk about the guy who cycled through how many offensive coordinators in the time that he's been here? Can we talk about the guy that cycled through defensive coordinators despite never firing one? How many defensive coordinators have we had under McDermott? They're not leaving for better jobs. They're leaving to get away from him. Like, at what point are you holding the guy hiring the bad guys accountable for hiring bad guys? And then we talk about cap hell. We talk about draft picks. We talk about ineffective players, no backups for our running backs, no wide receivers that can get open. And then we're like, well, Bean tried. Like, he tried at the deadline because, well, you know, he called about Jalen Waddle. So, like, we're supposed to give him credit because he calls on one wide receiver and then wouldn't give up an asking price of what equates to a high second-round pick and a third-round pick. So what? So you can take another wide receiver at the end of the first round because the one you drafted 2 years ago can't get open to save his life and can't get off a jam despite being one of the bigger wide receivers in the league? Like, what are we doing? And you've got an owner who doesn't care. He does not care. Because if he cared, he'd be out in front of the media. If he cared, he'd be doing something about it. He does not care. And the fundamental issue is not Joe Brady. The fundamental issue is that this organization is being run by someone who doesn't care, and he's allowing these guys to be bad at their jobs. Not that they don't want to win. There is no doubt in my mind you do not become an NFL head coach if you don't want to win football games. You do not become an NFL GM if you don't want to win football games. So the question is not motivation. The question is, are they even good at what they do? And if the answer is no, then they gotta go. They gotta go. And when everyone in the comments or on Twitter is gonna go, well, what's the alternative? I don't know. Something else. Like, try it. Because we've been watching this same shit for the last 9 years and it's not working. So how many more years? How many more times are we gonna do this?
I don't. The current situation that the Buffalo Bills are in. As far as the trade deadline goes, just the trade deadline. I don't blame Bean for not making a move. I'm one of those guys that does not blame Bean for not making a move because of a lot of the things that was said by both Paul and Ryan tonight. I don't think they were one player away. I don't think they were 2 players away. I think they're a bunch of players away. And it said in the chat a little bit earlier, they're in cap hell. Now that's on Bean. Now the fact is, you give up a first and a third, those are controllable deals that you'll have to address needs. So I don't mind that he didn't do that because they're not 1 player away. They're not 2 players away. There are a lot of players away. A lot of guys are injured. A lot of guys aren't performing to what their draft stock was. And it's upsetting. So the fact that Bean did not make a move and sell the store for it, I'm not too upset about. I know, Ryan, you're seething at this point, but I understand. You got to understand, and I know you do understand the business side of it, is the fact that he needs those 2 picks to presumably draft guys that'll contribute.
Coleman.
If he, but if he does,
right,
okay, I don't know about that. But the fact is, it wasn't a smart business move for him to do.
Yeah, I don't want to make Mario's point for him. I think what Mario's trying to say is because you have no money, the only way you're going to acquire assets is via the draft next season, right? Because you're certainly not going to outbid New England for anybody.
Yeah,
New England's
so I guess
it's going to have $75 million in salary cap next season.
Right, fair, right. And again, like if they would have said, listen, injuries, like, this is not the roster we thought we were going to have heading into midway through the season, to the end of the season, into the playoffs. Like, you've lost Ed Oliver for the season. You've lost, Michael Hoyt for the season. Whatever, right? Like, if they take this in the macro sense and they go, listen, we're going to punt, right? We're going to punt on the season. And we still got Josh. We still got James Cook under control. We've got draft picks. Like, we've got pieces that we can move to get more draft picks and try to move up in the draft and grab impact players. If that's the approach that they want to take, fine. They should have taken it at the trade deadline. Like, they should have admitted that this was not a championship roster. Instead, Mario, what they did was they continued to double down. And they continued to tell us that this is a championship roster. I believe in the guys on the sideline. I believe in the guys that we have in this building.
You got to say that.
And then they don't have to say it. There's plenty of teams that don't say it. There's plenty of teams that go, you know what? We're in a bad situation going forward. We're going to try and gather some assets. You go have a conversation with Josh and you go, listen, can we take a year, man? Like, can we take a year? Can we go get some, but like, you can't put forth the face of this is a championship roster. Have the opportunity to add to that championship roster, arguably the biggest thing that they needed, which was a wide receiver, and then go, well, yeah, but we weren't one piece away. Well, then, okay. You can't tell me this is a championship roster and then tell me that you're more than one piece away. That's not how this works. That's not a lesson in reality. So, Mario, while you may be okay with them not making a move, everything they've done in the public up until this point has indicated that they are one piece, two pieces away, and they tried to do it. They tried to get Quinnen Williams. They tried to get Jalen Waddle. That indicates to me that they think they were one, maybe two pieces away, and then you don't pull the trigger on it. So again,
what's to say that they are actually trying, though? That could be the posturing that you're missing out on.
I mean, if they're not trying, like, okay, why put it out into the ether that you're trying? Like,
because no moves were made. They had to say something.
Right. So again, I mean, like, none of this makes sense. Like, you can't do both things.
Let's back up,
rebuild,
real quick, right?
And hold your draft picks while you also say you're a championship caliber roster.
Yeah, I think we got to back up real quick, right? So I've shared, this is overthecap.com. Thank you very much to overthecap.com. Those guys have been amazing for a decade at least, right? This is the source that we primarily use. And when you look at the Bills' top 10 salary cap hits for this season, you have 3 players there who aren't even the best at their position in the top 10. Right? Like, Dawson Knox is not your best tight end. He's costing you almost $15 million against the salary cap this year. He turned the wrong way on his route.
That's Josh's buddy,
yesterday.
though. That's Josh's buddy.
And then you go down, you have Curtis Samuel, who is only playing because you lost Palmer. And then I'll be honest with you, Cam Lewis is playing better than Teron. There it is.
Cam Lewis is
Cam has been better
in this defense right now.
That's right.
Cam Lewis and Joey Bosa
has been better.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but you can't have your top 10 most expensive players costing you this season be 30% of which are guys that you're only playing because you kind of have to right now. Right? Like, again, if all things were even, Teron versus Cam's playing better than Teron, so Cam should play. Dawson Knox had to play a bunch yesterday because you lost Dalton Kincaid to a hamstring. Right? Curtis Samuel, I don't even know what we're doing there. Like, we guaranteed the year for him, so it's probably why he was still on this roster. But the fact of the matter is, this is bad cap management. And when you look at it, right, you have Josh drafted, Dawson drafted, Matt drafted, Dion drafted, Daquan signed, right? Connor McGovern signed, Curtis Samuel signed, Spencer Brown drafted, AJ Epineza drafted, Teron Johnson drafted, Greg Rousseau drafted. That's a lot of drafted players that you've retained. Right. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is, you got to get to a point where you start cycling drafted players and you let other teams take the expense of having them. Like, that's just what happens. Or you go the complete opposite route and you overvalue your draft picks. And I think that's kind of where we are right now. Right. If you look at who the most expensive players are on the Bills, no one should be shocked that Bean wouldn't give up top draft picks for any player. Look at your salary cap situation. Your players who make the most money here are the players who were selected by this team, not players who were free agents. That is not normal. Like, if you look at the landscape of the NFL, almost every team in the top 5 has a free agent, right? We have Daquan Jones, and it's not even double digits, $9.4 million, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's an anomaly. That is not usual. Usually in the top 5, normally in the top 3, there's a free agent. And here we have drafted player. And I think most people would walk away from Matt Milano now after begging to have him back. I don't think people are happy with Matt Milano. I know I certainly am not super thrilled that Jordan Poyer's playing so many snaps. That's for damn sure. Right? Like, there's a lot of problems here. And the reality is that it starts with the salary cap. And the downside is that you don't have the flexibility to address those issues. And you also don't have the cojones to address the coaching staff that allowed you to get in this position. However, I want to go back to a point that you made earlier, Ryan. You talked about cycling offensive coordinators. How many times are we going to look at an offensive system and say, yeah, the coordinator just didn't have it? Like, the coordinator just didn't have it. At some point, that comes down to the head coach saying, no, you're not going to run that kind of system. You're going to run the kind of system I want you to run. This is what I want you to do, and you're going to fit the mold that I want, even though I was never in that position, right? And that's why I think McDermott and Dable kind of had some toughs in the media. Like, they went fisticuffs in the media every now and again. And it was probably because Dable was like, no, dude, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, you hired me to be an offense coach. I'm going to do what I think is right. And otherwise, right, you had Dennison, who was just going to do whatever he could to keep the job. You had Dorsey, who was anointed by the quarterback. You've got Brady, who was brought back from the depths after having a disastrous run in Carolina. Right. And Dable was the only one that even had any sort of, I guess you could call it pedigree. I do not necessarily believe that, but Dable had in his mind he was head coach material. I don't think Dennison, Dorsey, or Brady at this point believe, oh no, I'm head coach material.
No, Brady's going to go to college.
Like, yeah.
He's going to go coach LSU.
Yeah.
So but he got that job because he was Joe Burrow's coordinator, right? Because he called plays for Joe Burrow, and
you had Chase and Jefferson there. I could call plays there.
The greatest offensive collection of talent that we've ever seen in college football.
Yeah,
and that's the guy that went and won a national championship with him, right? Like, that team was a kingmaker. Whoever the offensive coordinator was going to get a crack at things in the NFL. There was no doubt about it.
Give me that recruiting coordinator though. Dang.
Yeah, right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Right.
They went and got Burrow out of Ohio State, right?
Right.
But that's it. No, never draft a quarterback from Ohio State, man. The greatest quarterback from Ohio State is Tom Tupa. He didn't even play quarterback. No, but the reality is there's levels to this, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about Brady. You have to look at the coaching staff and you say, okay, what about that staff? What about that pro personnel department? Like, what are we missing? What isn't firing on all cylinders? We could sit there and look at the tape all day long and complain about the fact that receivers can't shake man coverage. The fact of the matter is, again, the entire NFL knows this now. It's been out since the Atlanta game, right? Like, really think about it. Since the Atlanta game, the book's kind of been out. And if you haven't figured that out by now, you got another half a dozen weeks here. And they're all going to go like the Miami game unless you're really, really, really careful. And I don't think Mecole Hardman does that for me. I don't think Jalen Waddle solves that problem for me. I like Ray Davis. I like Ty Johnson. I think you're missing a dynamic in that running back room of having somebody who can just get 2 yards in a cloud of dust and be a threat on the inside. I like James Cook, but I think they're missing that in those, fourth and short situations. Just to even have that threat would be great. Reggie Gilliam's not going to get a carry this year and maybe just get 1 or 2 targets all season. Like, he's taking snaps.
Paul, that's your that was your thing. You said for years. You said that Bills don't have a power back because Allen is their power back.
That's right.
Yeah. But there's a comment on the screen for you, Paul, just for you.
Cardell Jones, baby.
Wait for it. Yeah, guys. Paul is. No. Don't mention OSU on this broadcast. It's just,
never draft an Ohio State quarterback. Never. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's very upsetting because when you look across, if you're a defender looking at the Bills offense and you go, okay, 17, 4, and 10, lock them down, you're good. And Kincaid started to, do a few things here and there, but then he got hurt. And I don't blame the rest of the game on that. The game was already lost at that point. I mean, you come out on your first series and you have a 4th and short and we're going to punt it. Really? Is that what we're doing now? Is that the new NFL? Is that, let's kick it back to them.
I don't think they took Miami seriously, Mario.
No, I don't believe they did, which is a fault to the coaching staff. Now, we could go through and individually talk about certain things that are a problem, as we have been so far, and you could say, is it personnel or is it coaching? Not getting your team up for a game, that's coaching. Allen fumbling, that's not on the staff. That's not on the staff.
I don't
Cook
think that's
fumbling
on
is not
Allen
on the
either.
staff. No, that's
on Allen.
That was an anomaly. He rarely fumbles when he's out there.
He
I
said
think he was trying to
something.
get it to Samuel.
He was trying to pitch it to Samuel.
I think so. If you
boy.
if you watch, Samuel's not a guy near him. He's within about a yard of Josh, and it just looked like Josh was trying to do something with the football other than hang on to it.
Well,
I
he'd
don't
been
know. I don't know
carrying
if
the
it'll
team
come
for
out.
45 minutes
That's what I
single-handedly.
mean. I
at that
almost
point.
wonder
Well,
if he was trying to get the ball out of his hands into Samuel's hands so he could.
I don't
try
think
to
he
make
played a
play.
very good game either, though. Be honest with you.
I mean, the other thing we
Josh?
could talk about, the other thing we could talk about is all these injuries. Like, do we think it's a mystery that all of a sudden this is one of the most injured football teams we've seen in a while? The year they decide to get rid of and change their strength and conditioning coach,
And the
can we
strength
talk
and
about
conditioning
that from a
program has
coaching?
been,
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that-
they won
when they were
awards, right?
within
Like,
the NFL.
yeah. I mean, they were one of the
Yeah.
most envied strength and conditioning programs in the entire NFL, and then you get rid of the guy, and now you can't stay healthy. You can't.
Maybe he
keep your
couldn't
studs on
stand
the field.
McDermott either.
What's that?
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't stand McDermott either because he was probably had some conflicting views on if a guy's hurt, if a guy's healthy. And McDermott's like, I don't care. I need him to play. You see that all the time in the NFL. So,
Or he said he was ready to go and McDermott didn't want to play him. I mean, could go either way.
yeah.
Time on task.
I'm
Not to ask.
going to throw
rookie hurt.
punch.
He's got to
Oh,
sit.
God.
I mean,
gotta
look at Landon Jackson. Like
Yeah, he's been a
was a big
healthy scratch for the last 4 weeks.
Right.
He plays 5 snaps or whatever he played yesterday, and he got hurt.
well,
He blew
same
out his
thing
knee.
at Oliver, right? Ed Oliver's played the equivalent of not even 2 games.
Landon
like,
Jackson
2 complete
played
games.
2 snaps yesterday,
Yeah.
and he blew out
Joey
his knee.
Bosa's out there with a fucking hammer for a hand,
Yeah,
and
still
but
your
that's Joey
second best
Bosa.
defensive player.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
that speaks volumes. And then the other thing that I had, can we talk about Paul's point that I don't think they took this Miami team seriously? Did you see the inactive list yesterday? Shaq Thompson practiced all week. Taron Johnson
Ben
practiced all week. It was name after name. Matt Milano practiced all week, inactive.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what you do for a 2-7 team.
That's what
was
you do
inactive.
for a team where it's built in by. We're gonna go play the guys that don't need to play. Rest our studs. We'll be
You do
ready
that
to
for a
roll
team in the
Tampa.
NFC. I wouldn't do it for an AFC division rival who they want to come after you. You had to
did.
know that they were going to come after you. They had nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose.
If you really peel back what's happening in Miami, they're going to hire a new general manager, and wouldn't be hard to fire Mike McDaniel if he won 7 of his last 8 games and beat the Bills, right? That's hard to fire that guy, isn't it? It's real hard to fire.
We've seen weirder things happen in the NFL with certain things like that. We've seen Marty Schottenheimer fired after going 14-2, and losing to the Patriots. It happens. It definitely happens.
But that coaching staff is coaching every game like it's their last.
Oh,
right?
100%. 100%.
They have to.
They're on a
They don't have
contract
choice.
year.
They absolutely have to.
They're literally on a
they have
contract year. Yeah, you have a. See, I kind of knew this was going to happen. Not so much to this futility, but I knew this was going to happen. The Buffalo Bills, it seemed like they were always chasing. I mean, they were always, nobody's giving them respect. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. They're always chasing the Chiefs, the XYZ and all this other stuff. Now you come into the season where Allen comes off an MVP year. Now, you have all of these players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that play against the Buffalo Bills offense. They're going to try to make their career or you got guys that are on the rookie deals. They're going to try to, as hard as they can, because if they pick off the MVP or if they sack the MVP or do anything else against the reigning MVP, that bolsters their stock. And you have just the regular guys that are on contract years. And then you come into a team that has guys on rookie deals guys who are on 1 year deals, contract year. Like Paul said, literally they're playing every game like it's their last. And you do not get your team up to play that. It's embarrassing. It is literally embarrassing that that's what you had happen. And now you have to try to, you are dangerously close. Number one, if you lose next week and Kansas City wins, you're tied. You're both 6-4. You are dangerously close to losing your team if you haven't already. Now, that's when things go, you think things are bad now. That's when things go sideways. When you lose your team, you're going to be done. You're going to be absolutely done. It doesn't matter what the owner is. It doesn't matter who the owner is. Really doesn't. Bean will fire him. He will.
I mean, but culture, right? Like Ronald asked a good question. And he said, do you think some of the problems with the team and being a McDermott, do they have a mandate from the owner, right, to scale back on the money? Well, no, first off, there's rules in the NFL before we get into that, right? There's rules in the NFL about how much money you're required to spend every year, right? So there is a cash floor, right? Yeah. So this isn't hiding money anywhere. The Bills are spending money just like every other team in the NFL, and they're doing so at a pace that they spend almost every dollar they have every year. So it's certainly not a money issue. But like most teams cannot afford to pay a left and right tackle at the same time, let alone a center, right? Like most teams can't do that. Most teams can't pay a left tackle or right tackle and a center. And if you look at your, again, top 10 salary cap hits, you got Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern, and Spencer Brown. But when you do that, you have to compromise other things. So you're not paying any safeties. You're not paying any wide receivers. Like there's compromises there. And then you have to, again, kind of keep bringing back Matt Milano. Like at some point, like you should have been able to replace Milano as a player at this point, right? You've tried a few times, but you're calling the wrong people, right? You've got the wrong people in the building to help you replace that. And you have to, at some point, bite the bullet and just get a free agent. Go get him. I don't care. Go get Devin White. I don't care. Just get something, right? Like you have to make a change. But the culture in the building, unfortunately, says these are our guys. We're going to take care of our guys and keep them till we absolutely can't keep them any longer. And unfortunately, that usually runs out their window of effectiveness. And we've seen it with Poyer. We've seen it with Milano, right? And we're going to continue to see it. Like Knox is the same thing, right? They've run out of their window of effectiveness. And the goal of an NFL team is to get out of those deals before the player has become effective or become ineffective, right? And Buffalo has failed to do that. And they failed to do it every year. And with the vast majority of their extensions that they sign with players once they hit the age of 30. They don't play the other side of 30 game well at all. And I mean, what can you do? Like, from the scale of things, right? You got to fix this team tomorrow. There's no way to fix the team tomorrow. Like you could bring in Dable as an assistant, but he's not going to do that. He's not going to come in and say, "Oh yeah, let me help you draw up plays." He's not interested in that. Dable. I think a lot of people think Dable got a raw deal with the Giants, and Dable is still going to be one of the first people called for head coaching jobs next season. He doesn't need to come to Buffalo to help them draw up plays. He has no allegiance here.
No.
Like, why does he want to come back? He doesn't want to come back to this.
Well, isn't he from here?
Yeah.
Isn't he from here? But like, yeah, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, he got coach of the year, and I think the next 3 years he started 2-7. You can't do that, especially in New York, especially in that market. You know what I mean? If he was a more tenured coach, maybe, he had quarterback problems. He thought he was going to save his job at, taking dart. But it just didn't help him at all. He tried supplementing it with Wilson. That didn't help. It's just, it's upsetting because as I said at the onset, and I think, you were definitely here for that, Paul, they don't need to start doing more. As far as the on the field stuff goes, they need to start doing less and doing it more crisp into some of the things that they need to do. Yeah. You stunted Cole Bishop's growth, which he's playing out of his mind right now. You stunted his growth though for the first half of the season because you had to play DeMar Hamlin last year for some reason. Okay. You just had to do it. So you stunted his growth. You didn't take Xavier Worthy, which forced you to take Maxwell Hairston, who can run with him.
Yeah.
And then you had to take a wide receiver in that same draft, and you passed up on McConkey. You passed up on a bunch of other guys.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you said it perfectly the other time when we were at the Chiefs game, Paul. You look at what you've drafted in the first few rounds the last few years, and look where your problems are.
Mhm.
That speaks to your scouting department. What's wrong with your scouting department now? Is somebody gonna get fired from the scouting department if they do not make the playoffs this year? I think they will. That's the chicken, you know what way
Burn it
to
to the ground.
handle it. Yeah,
You burn it to the ground.
you do. 'Cause
Like,
then everyone else will get your secrets. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Bills, listen, and if you go back and go back to the 4 Super Bowls, right? There was a time where the entire defensive side of the football was fired from a coaching staff perspective,
oh yeah,
right? Like these things happen. And I don't want to say that firing your offensive coordinator within the season is always a good thing, but there are times where that can spark a change. Buffalo did that, and brought in Joe Brady, right? And there was a spark there, and all of a sudden, right? But those days are over. And what you're seeing is now full on Joe Brady. This is what he wants to run, or at least it's what he's being told that he has to run. We'll never really know.
Well, we know
we'll
because
really
we have the history with Dorsey. I think Dorsey was
I know, but it's just
instructed.
inference, right? No one's ever going to come out and say that this is what's happening.
But
right?
I think I still think, as far as that goes, it's not a far stretch to say that they're telling Brady certain things he can run and can't run. I don't think there's a far stretch, and the fact that he's quiet about it lets him do what he wants to do and still have a job as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. So he's not going to say anything because of that. I mean, we saw a defensive coordinator just leave. Like Leslie Frazier just left. Brian Daboll, when they played the Giants, that handshake at the end of the game was pretty freaking warm. Yeah, awesome. So you have to start looking internally with some of these things. I think Dorsey was instructed never to run Allen because
I think so too.
He had a front row seat for Cam Newton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he ran him too much, this and that. So I think McDermott, to Ryan's point, wants somebody he can control. He wants coordinators that will listen to everything that he says and do everything he says. The problem with that is now everything's on you, coach. Everything's on you. If it's your show and you want to run everything the way you want it run, and this is the result, you know what I mean?
Well, let me ask a follow-up there. And Ryan, I'm curious what you think here, because let's imagine for a moment, right, that McDermott tells Brady he's got to get out of the box and get on the sidelines, right? Let's just imagine for a moment. I think if you look at the history of the Bills offensive coordinators, they've never been guys like Daboll was the closest that you got to somebody who was accountable, because he would go and yell at folks. Like there was a time where he was on the sideline and he would hold players accountable when he was on the sideline. You have a coaching staff now where when you look at Dennison, that was not his bag. When you look at Dorsey, again, that was not his bag. When you look at Joe Brady, again, these guys seem to be kind of chummy with the players as opposed to being an authority figure. Do you think that is something that McDermott looks for in an offensive coordinator, to be, a relatable, like everybody likes this guy sort of offensive coordinator? Or do you think that's just happenstance? Because if I were McDermott, I would be pulling Dorsey out of the box after whatever the hell that was, and you put him down on the sideline and you make his staff, make the players accountable on the sideline during a football game. And then once that has been fixed, then he can go back up in the booth. But you're looking at 2-3 games on the sideline, making sure your staff is doing what they're supposed to do. Like, that's my solution. But I come from corporate America. That's what would happen in corporate America, is if something's not going right from somebody 10,000 miles away, you do everything you can to get them as grounded as possible with the rest of the staff, and then you make them hold those staff accountable. So do you think this is something is that an option for McDermott, or do you think this is just kind of intrinsic to the people that he hires?
I don't think there's any indication that Sean McDermott wants strong personalities on his coaching staff. I think ever since the Brian Daboll situation and the Leslie Frazier situation, strong personalities will challenge the players, but the problem is that they will also challenge authority. Then they will challenge, because if you get a guy like Brian Daboll, and there was a comment in the chat, Desu commented, Dable yelled at Josh for 2 straight years. But that's all you saw when Josh made a mistake was Dable in his ear about it, right? Like, but then you have the adverse of what came out is that Dable was also yelling at McDermott. Like those two were also arguing. Leslie Frazier, same thing. We have not seen a strong, experienced defensive coordinator since Leslie Frazier left because by all accounts, McDermott tried to take play calling away from him in certain situations, and Frazier pushed back on him and said, I know how to run this defense. I know how to run a defense. I've been doing this longer than you, man. Like, you learned this from me, and you're going to take play calling away from me? Like, I mean, Mario, you know how it is on the sidelines, right? Like,
yeah,
if you get a guy who's going to challenge the players, he's also going to challenge the coach. And he's going to tell the coach, no, we don't need to run the football right now. Why aren't we going for it on 4th and 1 with an opportunity to, to extend this drive and like all of these things, right? So there's no indication that Sean McDermott has any interest in having strong personalities on his coaching staff. And frankly, there's no indication that he has any interest in having strong personalities on his football team. Like, who's the strong personality on this football team? Who's the player that gets these guys ready to play in situations where the coaching staff doesn't quite do it? I saw a comment earlier, I'm not sure who it was. Where's the Steph Diggs that's going to light guys up on the sidelines when they're playing, like when they're not putting forth the effort, when Keon Coleman is jogging his routes out there? Like, where's the player that's going to hold them accountable? They've gotten rid of all of them. Like, they've gotten rid of every single one of them at this point in time.
Who really fears Brady though at that point?
Who fears anyone on this football team? And I think part of it, like, we can talk about Josh, right? Like, does Josh need someone who's going to get in his face?
Or does he need to get in somebody's face?
But that's not him, though. Like, that's not him. It never has been.
He's never been a guy like that. And it would be completely out of character, but an essential wake-up call. You know what I mean?
It would come across disingenuous, I think.
I think it's like, you talked about, we know people like that, Ryan, that like they're very quiet and they'll take things as they come. But then when they get loud and upset, it is out of character for them. Yes. But then you're like, that, oh, wait, something's going on here. They're never like this. So what is forcing them to be like this? Like, we don't know the locker room atmosphere. Like, I know the one take is it could be disingenuous because I don't think people would take it that way because he's never like that. I don't think he's doing it as a show. I think he's doing it to light a fire, which may, like, if Josh starts getting upset and pissed, then everyone on that sideline has to be like, whoa, hold on. I need to tighten up now. I need to start doing something.
I mean, Josh does that other ways though, right? Like, he's always found ways to lead. The play that comes to mind is that one in the third quarter where he scrambled all around and he did the 2 double takes and kind of worked his way back and wound up with that long completion, right? Like, those are plays. That's what he does to get guys going, right? Like the tush push that he wound up fumbling, but that type of play is the play that's what he does, right? When he knows this team needs a lift, he puts on his cape and he goes and plays playground ball for a play, and he makes a play like only 3 guys in the NFL could do. Like, right? Like, it's Jackson, Josh, and maybe Mahomes can make that type of play, but I don't even know if Mahomes has the legs to do that type of play anymore. But that's the way he leads, right? So I think, I mean, would it work? Maybe. But again, like, do you want your quarterback flying hot like that? Like, most quarterbacks don't fly hot like that anymore. Like, Mahomes is fired up when they make good plays. Mahomes isn't out there screaming at guys when they're playing bad.
I think it would send a message that there's something clearly wrong. And if the coaching staff isn't going to do it, he needs to take control of his own career.
He needs to take control. If he needs to take control of his own career, he needs to go knock on Terry Pagula's door and tell him to fix it. Like, that's what Josh can do to make this football team better. It's not go out and do the rah-rah, fire guys up and start screaming and telling them that they're playing like shit and like all these things, right? Like, he can go. He is the only one that can go to Terry Pagula and tell him to fix this, right? Like,
I've got an idea, guys. Let's play a game. Right?
Oh boy!
So give me, and chat contribute, right? So give me, in the last 25 years, okay? In the last 25 years, give me your top 3 quarterbacks, right? Give me your last 3 quarterbacks in the last 25 years. Top 3.
Mahomes, Stafford, Rodgers.
Stafford?
Oh, dude, Stafford's a stud. And still doing it.
Okay.
in the last 25 years, my top three.
Last 25 years.
I would go
top three last
with
25 years.
Well, I mean Brady. I guess Brady, right? Like I forgot Brady. 25 years. So
So
I
you
would
take
go.
Stafford
I
off
would go
and put Brady in.
Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers.
I would
Okay.
go Rodgers, Manning, and probably Roethlisberger.
Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, of course you'd say Roethlisberger. You jerk. Okay, and
He was going to do backflips to not include Mahomes in that list.
Absolutely that's
doing
right.
Backflips.
Okay, so my point is, right, if you
I didn't put McNabb in there
I'm
either.
surprised he didn't try to get Marino in that list. Well, he played 25 years ago.
So my point is, I wasn't actually asking about the quarterbacks, right? So if we take a look at what those quarterbacks were, okay, so I just put them in the chat. Okay, so Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, and Rodgers again, right? So that's Rodgers is on there twice.
Nice.
There's
freaking
only
Mahomes name there.
Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Holmes.
I spell it wrong on purpose, right? So that's on
This
purpose.
is your reminder to check the description of this video for Mahomes.
That's right. Yeah. Sean Rogers. Thank you very much. Mr. Rogers. Mahomes. So if you think of these quarterbacks, right, I think there's a couple things that are really synonymous with the majority of the list, right? Mahomes, Brady, and Manning, right? So again, I just said majority, right? There's only 5 quarterbacks on this top 6 list. So Mahomes, Brady, and Manning, reliable tight end, right? And we're not talking world beaters. Like I'm not putting Dallas Clark on the world beaters list, right? But the fact of the matter is you had 2 kingmakers of quarterbacks at tight ends. You talk about 2 of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, and you talk about Kelsey and Gronk, right? There's other tight ends who are great. You have Rivers, had Gates forever, right? Like, but the fact of the matter here is oftentimes you have that just really reliable target who just finds ways to get open for 6 yards, 8 yards, and then can break them, right? Even if you go back to Breeze, like Jimmy Graham, right? Like you think of these really great quarterbacks, and there's a lot of them that relied on tight end play. And Buffalo is like, oh, we're going to go get Dalton Kincaid. This kid's dynamic. He could play. It's not the type of tight end that makes those players successful, right? You need reliable targets that can read zone coverage and read man coverage and find those soft spots in the zone and understand where it is they need to be as a play breaks down. You don't have that here, right? You don't have that in Dawson Knox. You don't have it in Jackson Hawes. No offense to Jackson Hawes. I know a lot of Bills fans really like him. I like Jackson Hawes too, but these take a long time to develop that level of skill set. And I do think that when you look at Kelsey and Gronk, yes, those guys are absolute freaks. Antonio Gate, absolute freak, right? Jimmy Graham, absolute freak at the tight end position. But the fact still remains is that their role was to be the reliable target. And when you could talk about the greatest quarterbacks of the last 25 years, and the majority of them, one of the first things that popped into your mind is their tight end tells you you're probably doing this wrong, right? Like, you just got to pull back and just think about it from a real granular level. Like maybe you're just doing this wrong, right? Maybe you're spending your money in the wrong spot. Maybe you're, going out and finding a guy like I don't love Jake Ferguson, but Jake Ferguson has bailed out
popped
Dallas.
into my mind while you were having that conversation.
Yeah,
like
that's what I mean.
And how much
no one's gonna. If you
Dak
went
is
out and
when
spent
Ferguson's
that kind of money.
Yeah.
If you go out and spend that kind of money on Jake Ferguson in the free agent market, Bills fans they're not loving it. But I'll tell you what, on 3rd and 4th, 3rd and 4 to go, I bet you're going to love that free agent signing.
I'll tell you what,
right?
Trey McBride makes Jacoby Brissett look pretty good.
That's what
How
I
about
mean.
George
right?
Kittle and Mac Jones, for crying out loud?
George Kittle is relevant a couple weeks a year. You're right.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a fantasy owner of George Kittle,
or like Brock Bowers, right? Like, look what he's doing for the Raiders.
And I get what they're trying to do. They wanted Dalton Kincaid because he was a dynamic threat. I totally understand what they're doing. However, I think they're evaluating the skill set wrong, right? History says you don't need to be the fastest receiver or the fastest tight end. You don't have to necessarily be the biggest, but you do have to contribute in the run game. Dalton Kincaid cannot do that for you. You do need to contribute in the run game so that way you get lost. That's the whole idea. That's what made those guys so good. That's what makes Kelsey so good and what made Gronk so good. You know, and what made Gates so good is they could contribute for you in the run game, right? And then when you play action, those guys sneak out and they're dangerous. And this team doesn't have that. Like Jackson Oz is the closest thing you got. And I'll be honest with you, he just doesn't have the experience to be dangerous in that facet for you.
Well, from an athletic standpoint, Knox has the tools. He's got speed. He's got strength. You know what I mean? He's got a few things, you know, working for him. It's just he can't hold on to the ball ever. And with the experience, I mean, do you think Allen throws a touchdown to Kincaid if that's Kincaid instead of Knox on the pick in the end zone?
I bet you Kincaid doesn't turn the wrong direction on the route.
No, he doesn't. But that's out of experience. Like he's getting all 1 reps. That's why Knox didn't know where to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but inexcusable.
I understand your
second
point,
most
though.
expensive player on the roster, inexcusable.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument, right? Like, I understand, like Paul, where you're coming from, but I think what it boils down to is you don't have a reliable guy. Like, you don't have a guy that you can go to, right? Like, I've talked about this on the show before. Like, 3rd and 6, who's gonna go get you 7? Right? Like, that guy's not on this roster.
Not
that guy
named
was on this
Shakir.
roster. It was Shakir's not the guy. I have no faith on 3rd down unless they throw him a screen and he can break a tackle. I have that's not Shakir.
I'm praying they throw him a drag route, please, because he can get across the field faster.
But if you think about it, like when defensively, right? Like when you match up with a team defensively, and we saw this with Josh with Diggs, right? 3rd and 6, doesn't matter who's on him. Doesn't matter if they double team him. Doesn't matter what happens. He's going to run 8 yards. He's going to turn around. He's going to catch the ball at 7. And that's where Josh is going. And, like, good luck stopping it. When Mahomes needs 5, like, it's Kelsey, right? Like, when Breeze needed 6, it was Jimmy Graham. Like, you need a guy. And I talked about Stafford. Stafford had Megatron. Now Stafford's got, Puka Nacua, and he's got Devontae Adams. And, like, you need to have a guy that, whether he's the world beater, whether he's a wide receiver 1, whether he's just going to go get you the yardage that you need. And your quarterback doesn't have to look his way every time. But if things break down, if that primary read's not there, I know where he's going to be, and he's going to be right at the sticks. And I'm going to get it to him, and we're going to get a first down. And we're going to go keep fighting. Right. Like, they don't have that guy in this roster. There's not a single guy on this roster. And Mario, I understand you put Shakir in there because that's who they go to in those situations, but that's not who he is, right? If you go to Shakir and you say, go win a 1-on-1 and get me 6 when I need 5, I know you well enough, Mario. You don't trust him to go do that. You can't possibly trust him to go do that.
No, I was just taking the roster into consideration. He'd be the only guy I would trust.
That's right. That's the guy on this roster, but he's not a guy, right? Like, he doesn't do that on every single team in this league. We're watching Steph Diggs do it, right? Like, we're watching Steph Diggs create another quarterback. Like, he's doing it again. We're watching him do it again with Drake May, right? So, like, at what point, like, Bills fans, you say what you want about that guy. Like, you want to talk about a kingmaker. Like, it's Brian Daboll, and he made
Steph Case Diggs. Keenum. I mean, do we have to say anything else?
He does it time and time again. He's done it. He's been with 4 franchises, and he's made 4 quarterbacks better than they were when 4 quarterbacks he left better than they were when he got there. So, like, and Shakir, I love Shakir. He's a wide receiver 2, and he's a wide receiver 2 on almost any roster in the league. But that's what he is, right? Like, he's not an alpha. He's not a Josh, just get me the ball. Like, I'm open, get me the ball. Like, and that's the type of guy that Josh needs. Like, Josh needs a guy that when things break down and when things aren't going his way and, Chris Jones is bearing down on him, he needs the guy, where's 14? Like, and it's not even I can see him. It's I know where he's going to be and where I need him to be, and he's going to be there. And the fact that this roster has been constructed without that guy is professional malpractice. Like, this roster, and the fact that they have continued to say over the last few weeks that this roster is good enough to go win a championship and go compete for the division and go, like, this is professional malpractice at this point, what they are doing to Josh Allen in his career. And we're watching him regress. He's gone from MVP of the league, arguably 2 years in a row. He should have won it 2 years ago. Whether you want to believe he should have won it last year or not, he should have won it 2 years ago for sure. Mm-hmm. So you could make an argument he's the 2-time MVP of this league. And right now, I mean, is he a top 10 quarterback in the league right now, the way he's playing?
Not right now.
You can legitimately have that conversation, right? He's not the best quarterback in the division right now.
No, he's not.
And you never would have said that.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
But I can name 8 guys off the top of my head I'd rather have than Josh Allen right now, the way he's playing football. And and one of them's Jordan Love, who's thrown for 12 yards in the first quarter and a half of a football game tonight.
Yeah, a lot of those people that are saying, and we've said it too, please get Josh some help. Yeah, they have to have that extra little tagline at the end of it and say he needs to help himself too. He's not doing himself any favors with how he's playing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some of the things that he's doing. But you're right. I believe he's regressed. Someone had a stat out, like after 8 games, he's ahead of his pace of last year's MVP performance that he had, like in yards and stuff like that. But he's certainly not playing like it. Certainly not.
I mean, and listen, like we see these guys on Twitter who are trying to be fair and say Josh isn't playing great. Like Josh is making mistakes and like Josh is doing this and Josh is doing that. And it's okay to say that he's not playing well, right? But I mean, Mario, like you've played the game long enough. Like those who have played the game long enough can speak to what a poor coaching staff can do to the psyche of a player.
Oh Lord.
Right. And we talk about effort and we talk about execution and we talk about like all of these things. And like Mario, when you don't believe in the scheme and you don't believe in the guys that are making the play calls, like why go out and try? Like why am I going to go out and execute for guys that aren't trying to put me in the best position to be successful?
I yell kill like Josh does.
Yeah, but I mean, how many times can Josh get away with that before whatever, right? You make the argument yesterday, like the beginning of the third quarter was the best drive they had, even though it didn't end in points. The majority of it was in hurry up, and he was just calling his own plays.
Yep.
Like, I mean, K-gun, right? Like, but that's not today's NFL anymore. Like, you can't do that in today's NFL.
That's what Paul was making a point of Brady possibly going to the sidelines. That's why it was like, listen, he's on the field. You're in when you're on the field. Obviously, there's certain things you can't see that are probably out there that are happening, but you have a feel for the game. When you're in the box, it's like you don't have a feel for the game. If you're on the sideline, you probably could, and you could take care of things readily. But as much as we said earlier that Josh isn't that guy to get in your face if something's going wrong, I don't think Brady is either.
No, and again, McDermott's doesn't have those guys on the staff. He doesn't have a single one of them. That's what we talked about. Paul bringing on Brian Callahan at one point, right, and bringing on potentially Brian Dable. Like those are guys that are going to go get in someone's face and they're going to go do it and they're going to say, you know what, I've been successful in the league calling plays, like.
Yeah.
Dable's done it with Josh. By all accounts, those two had a wonderful relationship. And I think it's partly because Josh got held accountable under Dable, right? And I think one of the reasons that Josh went to Dorsey was because he was hoping that was what Dorsey was going to be for him, right? And instead, Dorsey became feckless and Dorsey became tail between his legs, and he listened to McDermott because he was trying to turn it into a head coaching situation. And like he crashed and burned because he thought that Josh was enough, right? Like these guys view Josh as like, well, if I was his offensive coordinator, like I'll get a head coaching job somewhere. Brian just did it. Instead of like, hey, Brian did a really good job with Josh, and that's what got him a head coaching job. Josh didn't do that, right? Like Dable did that by putting Josh in positions to be successful, something that we haven't seen an offensive coordinator do since Dable left. So like,
I want to just challenge us real quickly. I know we're running up on time, but I want to challenge us real quickly here. Okay. So this is the list of free agent signings. I'll just make it a little bigger. So this list of free agent signings from this last offseason, right? So one thing I think it's important to call out, there's Josh Palmer for you, right? 3 years at $29 million. I think it's important to look at the top of this list and say Bean didn't address the wide receiver position, and then remember where we were at the beginning of this offseason, right? Devontae Adams was coming off a season with the New York Jets that, I mean, was absolutely forgettable, like absolutely forgettable. To the tune of most people, I think, were ready to walk away from Devontae Adams as being a integral part of an offense. Stephon Diggs was coming off a injury that nobody expected. You know, he lost his whole season with the Texans. It happened early in the season. He's coming off an injury. Cooper Kupp coming off of injury in perpetuity, right? He's just consistently injured. Darius Slayton had only ever been with the Giants, and again, has weeks where he looks like a world beater and weeks that he's completely forgotten about. No idea how Diami Brown is on this list. And then you have Josh Palmer. So, you know, if you're talking about, well, Bean needs to do something to address the wide receiver position, I do think that timing matters here, right? And not every year is the best year to attack that position.
Yeah.
If you look at it, right, you talk about Stephon Diggs all we want, but Diggs was coming off a catastrophic knee injury. So Diggs coming back to Buffalo was off the table. Cooper Kupp was off the table again because this team's not going to bring in anybody who has that level of injury history. It's just not, unless they're coming in at like a Joey Bosa level deal where it's just like on a 1 year, right? And these players weren't going to be that for you. You signed Josh Palmer 3 years, $29 million, and there's no contract close to that below you. Like, that tells me you paid Josh Palmer well above market value, because the next closest contract is what, Diami Brown, 1 year, $10 million. Like, if you scroll down this list, right, there's Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, both at $3 million apiece. Like, my point here is that, one, you pay Josh Palmer above market value because, first off, there's an absolute cliff that you fall off, right, from Josh Palmer and then everybody else. You can't tell me Palmer was the edge of the cliff. You just can't. You just can't tell me that Josh Palmer was the edge of the cliff. But the other side of that is, it's easy as fans to sit here and say, you didn't address this position when you needed to. Look at what the market was. Now, there's value there, right? There's some players who are on value deals that you could have gotten yourself. And you just have to remember that Brandon Beane will bargain bin shop for wide receivers. So I saw a comment talk about, well, Stephon Diggs, he disappears in the playoffs. Sure, because defenses will focus on him. And then your bargain clearance section wide receiver group, you're right. You're going to get what you paid for there. And in the playoffs, that's what you get. You get what you paid for with those other players. Like, so I just want to put it out there. Yes. Did they need to address the wide receiver position? Yes. If you look at who was available, was it wise to do it in this offseason? I understand how we got here, right? I do. I understand. You traded for Amari Cooper. You probably were thinking, hey, we'll get him in now. We'll be able to sign him. He's a 1. He's that reliable target. Didn't work out that way. He ends up retiring in the offseason. Like, I get it, right? But these are, again, all bad decisions leading up to here that you have to rely on the free agent market to go get your quarterback as guy. Like, that's where it falls apart for me, especially when, you know, like, there's still value here, but like, you overpaid for Josh Palmer. There's no way around that.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you could have had DK Metcalf for a 2nd and a 5th, right? Or you could have had Deebo Samuel for a 5th. Like, yeah, exactly. Deebo Samuel's not playing great right now, but like, Josh Allen probably makes the difference there, considering Jaden Daniels has been hurt all season, right? Like, so it's not this isn't a zero-sum game. Was free agency the right way to address it? Probably not. But you don't need to pay for Josh Palmer if you trade for DK Metcalf, right? Like, you don't need to trade. You don't need to sign Josh Palmer if you go sign Curtis Samuel or Deebo Samuel. Maybe you can get rid of Curtis Samuel. Yeah, like, there's layers to how do you go about addressing this football team, right?
Right.
And the continued unwillingness to move draft picks, which ultimately, yes, you're right, they equate to starters on this football team, but what does that mean, right? Like, we talk about, like, when I say, you know, Bean hasn't drafted well, and people are like, well, what about Rousseau, and what about Bishop, and what about this, and what about that? Like, how many Pro Bowls do these guys have between them? Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, you're a good football player for the Bills, okay. Like, I thought we had a defensive-minded head coach that was, like, sought after for defensive coordinator position. Shouldn't he be able to turn anyone into a really good football player in his scheme? Like how many Pro Bowlers do we have on this roster on the defensive side of the football? We've got an aging, over the hill, washed up former All Pro, two of them actually, because now Poyer's starting. You've got Ed Oliver who can't stay on the football field for any length of time, and you've got a Trey White who's coming off of a third major leg injury and can't stay on the field for sake of a rookie. Like, so, okay, so let's talk about those draft picks that Bean's making. What, like, does anybody want Cole Bishop on their football team right now? Like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, Bills fans absolutely will take him. He's playing really well right now, and, like, he's coming into his own. Like, I mean, how many teams in the NFL would be like, yeah, I'll take Cole Bishop right now? Like, how many people would give you back your pick that you used on Cole Bishop in order to take him off your hands? Because that's the measure of value, right? Like, how many people are going to say, yeah, I'll take Greg Rousseau for a first? Like, so when we talk about like, well, what positions do you sacrifice to go get Josh a guy? I don't know. Like, how many Los Angeles Rams can on the defensive side of the football can you name? Because I can name a hell of a lot of their offensive players right now, and they're outscoring everybody. And it's just
they're just going to boat race everybody. Right? Yeah, they're just boat racing everybody.
Like, make the argument if you weren't a fan of the Bills and watched them play this team every season, there's one player on the defensive side of the football that you can name on the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's Chris Jones. Everybody else, they're just going and they're just boat racing guys, right? Like, so when you talk about what do you sacrifice to go get a wide receiver, and you've got a Josh Allen at quarterback, the answer is anything. Anything but the offensive line is what you sacrifice to go get a wide receiver for Josh Allen. And the fact that you've got a front office and a coaching staff and an owner that don't see that, refuse to see that, or can't see that, like, that's the problem. And equally, as much as we want to talk about, like, Josh didn't play well, my concern is that Josh isn't in someone's ear talking about, let's fix this, right? Because then the questions start to creep in. Like, we heard what he said when they asked him what it's like to be married, right? Like, I don't know. Like, the guy wants to win football games. Does he care about winning football games? I don't know. Like, you know, can we start having? How long before we start having that conversation?
It might emanate from the top down. We don't know.
I want to point out something because I know again we're probably at time for the episode, right? But there was something that Josh said on the sideline after he fumbled the football, right? He said, "I should have just gone down." Like, it was very clear to read his lips there, and he says, "I should have just gone down." And at that point in the game, right, he's been carrying the team for 45 minutes single-handedly.
40 times against a terrible rush defense.
Right. And know that Josh Allen, that you don't want to take that dog out of him, right? What makes him special is the fact that he was still going. Yeah. Like, the lesson is not, I should have gone down. The lesson is, I need to be better at protecting the football in that sort of situation. That's the lesson. And part of me is worried that that's going to get pistol whipped out of him because of this mistake, and he's going to feel responsible for it. Like, part of, like, one thing that I think is really important, and maybe this is just the way that I see being a dad, right, is I hate the statement of, no, buddy, it's only a game. Like, when my youngest kids and I, like, my middle son, he's aggressive when it comes to winning. My youngest son, aggressive when it comes to winning. And when one of them beats the other, I don't say, no, dude, come on, why are you getting upset? It's only a game. No, I'm not gonna beat that winner mentality out of that kid. Like, if he's throwing a temper tantrum because, you know, and it's out of pocket, I think that's different.
Yeah,
like, I want to make that
but there's right ways to care, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna beat the winner out of that kid, right? Like, he's trying to win. He's doing everything he can to win. I will never discourage that. That's gonna suit him well in life if he can learn why he lost. Josh didn't, you know, like, my concern is that Josh is just going to, again, carry this weight, not realize that the lesson is, I need to protect the ball better. And instead, like, I just need to compromise the way that I play and just be more safe. Right.
Well,
like,
the other concern,
that's the part of me that's concerned there.
Yeah. I mean, the other side that the other side that you worry about, Paul, is how long before he looks around and goes, why am I continually being put in this situation where I feel like I need to do this? right? Like,
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
many times, like how many times is he going to go home and his wife is going to go, why are you always the one that takes the blame for this? Like, why are you always the one that has to stand in front of the media and say, I have to play better? You just went 28 for 40 for over 300 yards, and you threw an interception because your tight end turned the wrong way, and you fumbled the football because you were the only one fighting for extra yardage on this football team. Why are you the one standing up there and taking the blame? And how long before that manifests into, do I want to keep playing for a franchise that keeps putting me in this situation? Do I want to keep playing for a franchise that makes me stand up there and take the blame when no one else on this football team is standing up there and saying, you know what, we got to be better for Josh. Like, we just got to be better for this guy. Because McDermott's not doing it. McDermott's up there going, well, we really need to be better on offense if we have Josh Allen at quarterback. Okay, the fuck are you doing to make this offense better? Right? Like, how many more times is Josh going to go home and listen to his family say, why is it always on you? Right? Like, you don't hear Mahomes always taking ownership when that football team loses. Like, yeah, he comes out and he does the platitudes and he does, we got to execute, we got to do. He doesn't go up there and say, I have to play better. He goes up there and says, we have to play better. Right? So why is Josh always saying, I'm the one that's got to do better?
That's who he is.
Throw these. That's fine. But like,
that's just how he is.
But that's Seriously. Who he is. But how many more times is he going to do it before somebody goes, what, come on,
well,
man.
It's going to end up being so commonplace.
The other issue that I have, Mario, is that he kind of did it. He kind of did it with Keon. Like, now, that comment got me a little worried, because now
asking
it's
about
like he's
Keon
never
getting
been
opportunities.
Yeah, he's never been throw your teammates under the bus guy, and that comment about Keon, like, that was telling. I think when they're like, is he getting enough opportunities? Is he doing enough with his opportunities? And he kind of paused, and it was a long pause. It was a he's thinking about this, how to answer this question politically, right? How to answer this question like Josh. And he goes, well, he got one today. So yeah, like, okay.
You think that was for Keon, or it was for Brady?
They
have such.
I think that silence spoke volumes.
In my opinion, we talked about this even a couple weeks ago. In my opinion, Josh has trouble trusting Keon on anything that's not thrown back shoulder. Every throw is back shoulder.
Yeah.
He's protecting him. That's what he's doing. He's protecting him by only throwing back shoulder.
Yeah,
those throws are low percentage throws. Yeah. Those are low percentage throws.
Yeah, back shoulder throws. I mean, Mario, you know this, right? Back shoulder throws in the middle of the field, like, those are low. That's not a play you run. That's not a normal route.
I mean, unless you're Aaron Rodgers. He used to run those all the time.
Yeah, but like, I mean, those are plays where, if you need a first down, or you're in the red zone and you're going for the end zone, right? Like, those are plays that
at this point, anything that injects life into this offense, I would take. Do a back shoulder.
There's a distinct lack of trust. Like, Josh throws the football, like, he throws it differently to Shakir and to Kincaid than he throws it to anyone else on this football team, and that's James Cook included. Like,
no, listen, guys, I'm gonna upset Paul here, but I want to just emphasize the trust factor here. Dwight Clark used to say, when he was playing for the 49ers, that Bill Walsh would say to him, listen, when you catch this ball, you don't need to flinch. There's not going to be anybody near you. And Dwight Clark used to say, oh, yeah, they get coached too, whatever. He goes, and if it didn't happen in the game, I would catch the ball and prepare to get hit, and there's nobody near me.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't think it's the individual players. I don't think Josh trusts the play itself and how it's developing to throw at guys like that. And I think, like I said, I think it emanates from the top down. I don't know if it could be the individual players, but
Josh has never been an anticipatory thrower, right? Like, he's never been a throw a guy open.
No,
right? Like, Mario, you know this. We've talked about this for years with him. He's see guy open, throw guy open, right? And he can get away with that with his arm strength, because by the time the defense recovers, it's too late. Your fastball's in there already, right? But what happens to a guy that doesn't see guy open?
No, he freezes, and then wonders if he should run because he's 29 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
mean, you go up and down. Go ahead, Paul.
No, Ryan, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, you go up and down this roster, this NFL, right? And you've got team after team, quarterback after quarterback, who, if they've got one guy, they go get a second guy, right? Philadelphia, Los Angeles, like Kansas City, like just like you go across the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and you can go 1 through 10. And if they've got one guy, they either went out and got a second guy or they're trying actively to get a second guy. By all accounts, Pittsburgh was trying to make another move to try to go get somebody opposite DK Metcalf, right? Like you go, but the damage for not getting that second guy for Pittsburgh is so much less because they've got the one guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's okay to swing and miss on Jalen Waddle if you've got a guy that's on pace for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, right? That's a way better miss than not, right? And like they're not actively trying to get better around. They're not leaning into their strength. And when you talk about, Paul, we work in corporate America, Mario, like you've played, right? Like you lean into your strength, and then while you're doing that, you try to make you try to make your weaknesses better. But you don't try to make your weaknesses better by leaning into your weaknesses. Right? You lean into your strength, do what you do well, dance with who brung you, and in the background, you're trying to do things differently, right? Like whatever that looks like for this football team, but they're not leaning into their strength. Like you signed James Cook, by all accounts, the usage rate should go up. Usage rate hasn't gone up. You've gotten worse at the running back position behind him. Because you're not and you're not running Josh, which used to be the way that you would supplement that rushing attack.
Yep.
You don't have a solid wide receiver. You've refused to address it. And now, now the joke is like, is it because you went on WGR and made such a big deal about how everybody said you needed a wide receiver and you didn't go get one, so now you're just digging your heels in to prove a point? Like, there's just so many questions with this football team. Yeah, like Tyler made a great point, and I saw Bruce Nolan make the same point on Twitter when Bean came out and said we don't want to lose our fastball. He said that 3 years ago, I think it was, when they got rid of Diggs. He said we don't want to lose our fastball. And the point that Bruce Nolan made on Twitter was they don't want to lose their fastball. They've done everything in their power over these last 3 years to actively get rid of their fastball and remove it from their rotation and remove it from their pitch pitch repertoire. Like, what have they done to keep their fastball from 3 years ago when they were the best offense in the league, right? And like a juggernaut, and the defense is what lets you down. Like, they're just. I mean, so, it's just baffling.
The point that I want to get to, right? And we talked about this last week. We saw James Cook 5 receptions this game because, again, Josh threw the ball 40 times. The only time James Cook has had more than 3 receptions in a game is only the product of Josh throwing the ball 40 times or more, right? James Cook, 5 receptions for 58 yards week 1. Josh threw it 46 times. 5 receptions for 24 yards against Miami this past week. Again, Josh threw the ball 40 times there, right? The reality is James Cook does not contribute in the passing game. Right? Does not. The 5 for 24 is not contributing. Just not from the running back position. It's supposed to be a dynamic playmaker. And I was glad to see some passes go his way because none of them were planned. Right? So I'm glad to see it. But it is really only a product of the fact that your quarterback threw the ball 40 times. Like that's where the numbers are. And
if James Cook is on the field, there is no opportunity that he could be put in a position to pass block.
Absolutely not.
Like if he's out there, and he catches a pass, that's because he's out there to run a route. And
correct.
It's
he's not leaking.
No opportunity for him to check.
Nope.
Right. No opportunity for Josh to call a max protect or pull him in to pass block.
Right.
Like that is just completely off the table.
Yeah. When James Cook is on the field and they bring 6, right? They bring 5, they bring 6. Josh is running for his life. And there is just absolutely nothing that James Cook is going to be able to do about that. Absolutely correct. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
And again, you've done that actively, right? You've actively decided that Ty Johnson is going to be your passing down back. right, wrong, or indifferent.
whatever
that's the
that's
roster
worth.
you built.
And everybody knows that in the league.
Yep. And that's the roster that you built, right? Like, and we can talk about why that roster was constructed that way. We can talk about who wanted it constructed that way. We can talk about who's got input in terms of constructing the roster that way. I don't know. You'll never hear the straight answer in terms of what's going on in this building. But the issue is, as you guys try to wrap the show up, like, the issue is this football team's broken. This football team's at risk of not making the playoffs. And frankly, like, who cares if this team makes the playoff at this point? Does anybody believe that they're actually going to win a playoff game if they have to go to Indianapolis? Do you trust them to stop Jonathan Taylor? Because I think Jonathan Taylor might set a playoff record for most rushing yards in a game against this football team. He's got 4 games this year of 3 touchdowns. Like, I want no part of watching a football game of that, because I synced that football game 5 years ago when they played the Saints, and the Saints rushed for almost 400 yards. Like, I've seen that game before. I don't want to watch it again. And, like, I don't want to watch them go to New England to play a football game in January. Who wants to watch that? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like,
you will, though.
If this is the football team, yeah, man, like, they get me every year, like 20 years of season tickets, right? 20 years of watching this, regardless of who's at the helm at the quarterback position. Like, I just, again, if you were given the choice, and Mario, I'm going to do like the game thing again, right? Like, if you were given the choice going into the trade deadline, you being they're not a piece away or 2 pieces away guy, like, would you have been okay if they were just like, we're just going to trade some assets and try to stockpile some draft picks and free up some cap space in the next couple of years and see how far Josh can get us this season? Like, I mean, that's waving the white flag, but you still might be a wild card team if you make those types of moves, right? Like Keon Coleman for a 5th pick swap type of situation. Like, maybe Dawson Knox goes on the move for, a pick swap, Knox in a 6th for a 5th. Like, those types of moves that kind of, again, free up cap space, give you more draft picks, those draft picks that you can package to move up in a draft like this. Like, would you be more okay with that than what they did?
Maybe.
Okay. I appreciate the maybe, because that's more than I got out of you last week with my hypothetical.
No. What I'm saying is, like, okay, I think a lot of people have been like, well, what's going on? This was supposed to be the super team. This was supposed to be the team that was supposed to go all the way. What's going on? And then all these injuries and chaos happens and ensues. And,
I would feel better about a front office and a coaching staff that said, you know what, we really thought we had a great roster. We've dealt with some injuries. Execution hasn't been where it is. We're going to run it back with a different offensive coordinator, and we're going to build to be ready to go next season.
We knew they weren't going to make any moves because they beat Kansas City. We said that before.
Talked about that before the game, in the car before the game. Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to, again, give a pass, right? However, you do have almost $30 million worth of players on injured reserve right now, and you have almost $33 million in dead cap money that you're swallowing right now. And a lot of that, and I know it sounds stupid, but a lot of that is because you keep 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks, and then you cut them or waive them, and then that 4-year guaranteed contract now goes against dead cap money, and you're signing that player back later. That dead cap money doesn't go away. Like, it's not apples for apples there. So when you draft a lot of players and you don't keep all the players, those 4-year guaranteed contracts go against your dead cap, and that money just adds up. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but like, you're still paying almost $2 million for Kyer Elam. Dane Jackson's on this team, but you're paying $567,000 in dead cap money from getting rid of him the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're using all of these draft picks that you're accumulating because you think that that's the way to address depth, instead of taking your 12 draft picks and turning it into 5 draft picks by trading up, like, and drafting 5 true guys that you're like, yeah, this guy's got a shot at making the roster. Not 4 defensive backs because we need 2, right? You go draft 2 safeties because you need 2 safeties, and you sign a guy in free agency and you go, you know what, out of these 3, we're going to get 2, but I'm not going to be on the hook for more than 1. Instead, you go out and you draft all these guys at positions you don't need, or you need, but you need you need 1, and you take 4, which means you're on the hook for 3 of them.
right? Or you do the crazy thing, which is you take, your 5th and 6th round picks and you go at this time of the year and just go get a veteran in a position that you need, right?
Yep.
Like send a 7th round pick to Tennessee for Van Jefferson, because at that point, why not, right? Like, because if you keep taking these expensive flyers in free agency, like you did with Josh Palmer, like you did with Curtis Samuel, these were not bottom of the free agent pool contracts, right? You keep trying to address your, with these bargain contracts in free agency. Bargain contracts in free agency don't really exist. Like they don't exist. So go and get your bargain bin players with your 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks and just go get them. And then if Van Jefferson comes in, he fits, he's great. Yeah. Like go ahead and sign him to an extension the next season.
You kind of joked a little bit about it when we talked about it, Paul, but like what did Rashid Shaheed cost you? Would it cost you what, a 5th he went for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's on an expiring contract.
Right.
So like if he wants to re-up at the time, if he wants to re-up at the time that he signs, he's gonna give you a discount. And if he doesn't want to re-up, then okay, he costs you a 5th. Who cares?
Right.
Like that's cap space is freed up for next year.
Well, and let's not forget that right now this team has also got $4.1 million in Tre'Davious White dead cap money from the last time you got rid of him.
Plus
and he's played for 2 other teams since then.
Right. Plus you're paying him what you're
plus
paying
you're paying him now.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So
exactly. So
we talk about all of these things, right? And it all comes back to, you're in cap hell, but who's the guy that got you there? He's, also the guy that refuses to make a move. He's also the guy that can't evaluate players. He's also the guy that all of these things are compounding. Same thing when you talk about Bean. He can't hire a coordinator. He can't keep guys on staff. He doesn't get these guys ready to play. He keeps making mental mistakes. He doesn't know how to use his timeouts. He doesn't know how to use his challenges. Like all of these things that we talk about that are wrong with this football team. And it's like, well, there's 2 guys that when you do root cause analysis, right? 5 why questions. Like there's 2 guys that have not yet been changed that you can change. There's 3 really, right? There's 3 guys. There's Josh, which no one has any interest in changing. There's Bean and there's McDermott. No. So the question is like the guy at the top, does he have any interest, or is he just happy being rich because he's got a football team and he's got a new stadium and he gets to be hero guy who saved the team from moving, and it is what it is, right? Like it seems to me like Terry's just happy to be here. He doesn't care about winning football games. He's just happy to be part of the club, happy to get a new stadium, right? Like, so none of this matters. Like, we just talked for 2 hours. None of this matters.
I think it does.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I think it matters. All
right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we ran a little long, but I'm glad you stayed with us. Make sure you follow all of our socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Sponsor for tonight's show, Mr. Rogers Homes, is in the description of the video. Make sure you go check him out. He's got a YouTube channel as well. Hopefully we shed the light on some things that are going on at One Bills Drive, and hopefully you feel better about the situation at hand. Make sure to join us next week as well.
Or at least that you're not alone.
Yes.
Yeah, at least that you're not alone. Right? Like,
if you're raging during the games, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, because I guarantee you I'm raging as well.
Absolutely, no question. All right, y'all have a great night. Enjoy your week. Take care.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America, and go Buffalo!